It's funny, but
I'm not.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me, where we focus less on the tips and more on the ability of what we can do. Join us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, live on the Disability Global Broadcast and Facebook Live. Looking forward to seeing you there.
What's up, everybody? It is D to the J with a roll away, and we are live from My CP Does Not Define Me, episode 89. 89 and doing fine, all sweet and all divine, because today is, yes, a new day and yet a new episode, but I wanted to kind of approach this a little bit differently. I'm doing some things a little bit differently with the show now. Y'all know toward the end with all the guests what I do with 10 questions, and that's coming later. But I wanted to give an update on what's going on in my life. But when I was talking to my mama last night, I said, Miss Winnie, can you come up with me? Because I want to cover this. I'm going to kind of do a 1-2 punch with the show today. And I want to talk about the mental aspects of not just overload, but like when you get, I don't know if I want to call it too much on your plate, or if it's just you got to go, woo, what am I dealing with? Do I need to take a step back? Because I thought about this, with the launch of the album coming and so many things. So I'm bringing up the CEO and founder of Kelly's Choice Cares, Edwina Wilson, the visionary, just like it says on the screen right there, because that's what she is. Hi, welcome everybody. Thank y'all for tuning into the show. We are live on the Disability Global Broadcast. We're live on Facebook. We're live on StreamYard. Heck, we might be live with the Pope right now. I don't even know if he watching. Hey, Mr. Pope, how you doing? All right. I'm just glad to see you. But it's amazing to me. This is the one lady that can juggle 12,672 things. And I'm like, Miss Winnie, how do you do it? Because I get 12 and I'm like, I'm about to fall out my chair. But we were talking yesterday and she said something to me. I really wasn't, I had been sick for 2 days this week, and I slept 48 hours, and I don't do that. So something hit me, knocked me over, hit me in the kneecap, did something somewhere to where I was like, look, your body said either stop or CP gonna knock you out. And that's what's gonna happen. And Miss Winnie's, I was talking with her, and she said, I'm going to bed too. I'm mentally tired. And I think we all get to that point. But I kind of want to go with it being, Disability Awareness Month and Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month also. I just kind of want to go through and talk to Miss Winnie for a second or two or an hour or so about going, and us, we may even go over, because she the boss lady. How with everything that you've got going on, in addition to caring for a child that has special needs, 24-hour care, it's not just a juggling circus with you. It's the whole circus, putting up the tent. I mean, the whole. I just don't know. I'm in awe with everything, and I know some of it you may share, some of it you may not. So I'm not going to give any of that away. I don't know how you do it, because right now I'm just like, and it's just it's crazy to me how you're able to manage it. And if you get overloaded, we don't often see it, but I think that is the mental aspect of everything is what you can't see, and it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Just so I'm gonna give you the floor for a minute, because I just want to get maybe the answer to that question. Is it hard to juggle all of that? How do you not let people see when you're not necessarily when you're struggling, but the overwhelm factor of I need to take a step back?
You're right. I'm not on social media like I used to be. I used to try, right. Yeah, I'm on TikTok.
Right.
I'm on TikTok. But sometimes you really have to take a step back. You do have to take a step back, and you have to even take a minute back from social media.
Mm-hmm.
Social media can drain you. It could take you to a whole nother level because you feel like you want to keep up with what you're doing. You want to make sure that and once you get on there, you start scrolling and you could be on there for hours before you realize that you done been on here that long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that social media person like I used to be, but it's just the workload that I'm doing now with launching things that I got going on. And when you're doing business, you want to make sure everything is in tip top order. Like, because at the end of the day, your company is you.
Yeah.
They're going to look at you, not the company name. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
look at Edwina Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I'm at a point where I have stepped back from a lot. And there's even been times where I hadn't even been on TikTok in like 5 days or 7 days. And then I'll be like, oh man, I ain't did nothing. And then I'm too tired to still even want to do something. And so I just learned to step back, DJ. I learned to step back, take a minute for myself and focus. You gotta have that moment where you need that middle break.
Mm-hmm.
Like just separate from everything. Quiet time. Like
Yeah.
it's so important to have quiet time for yourself. If you don't, it can be very dangerous. And you don't want that part of your life to come up, that
Right.
dangerous part,
Right.
because it could affect your spiritual, mental, physical, and health. You don't want that.
I think so many people push it aside. When they hear the signs or they see the signs of that mental breakdown, they push it aside as I'll be all right.
Yeah.
I just need to eat something. I just need to and sometimes that's the case. But like with you, you said, I came to a point where I realized I needed to just step back from social media for a little bit, or I needed to take time to myself. How did you realize that? What made you go, okay, I've got to stop because this is for Edwina, because if you're not in tip top shape, and I love this about you because we talked about this in the 3 hour show that we did together. If you're not in tip top shape to love yourself, you can't love nobody else. You got to take care of you first, and a lot of people forget that. I think that it's so valuable to, yes, knowing your worth is great, but you can't stretch yourself too thin, because if you do, you're not going to be good to yourself or anybody else.
That is so true. That's why it's so important to step back from things and stuff and people
Mm-hmm.
sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
to really sit back, focus, recharge, and go back, you know. And I think that everybody should do that because you could get on social media and lose yourself.
Yeah,
And social media, some parts of social media, some people make it look like it's so glamorous and
mm-hmm.
everything is all together, and it's a lot of people that's on there every day and could be going through something more major than what we are. But Edwina Wilson has learned to just step back. I have to, because I got a lot going on that I'm trying to accomplish, that I'm working on accomplishing, not trying to accomplish, that I'm working on accomplishing. And the funny thing is mostly everything I do is never always for me. It's always helping everybody else out, the community, making waves for everybody else. And I remember one time I took a long break, and back last year I took a long break because I really had to sit back and think, and I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?
And that's a good question.
Right. And who am I doing this for?
Mm-hmm.
And am I happy with where I'm at? Am I happy with what I'm doing? Am I making the right choices? Am I making the right choices with the right people? Because sometimes it could be the people.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, literally, it could be the people. It could be your team. It could be your staff. It could be the people. The people can affect you in so many dangerous ways that if you're not careful and if you don't know how to take a moment and step back, it can mess you up real bad. Real bad.
And I think you hit the nail right there. I just want to address this, and this show is going to be one of them real ones. I can already see kind of where we're going. When you have people up under you all the time, because Miss Winnie is a people person, but she does so many things for so many people. But when you got somebody up here and you're trying to go, whoa, just let me breathe a minute. I think it's valuable to realize that sometimes you do need a break from people. Sometimes you do need a break from social media. Sometimes you got to shut everything down.
Damn.
And I'm going to be honest, that's hard for me to shut this down because this is constantly, and this is constantly just going. So for me to shut up and shut down, I don't know where my power plug's at. Sometimes I have to have somebody pull it for me, and I don't know where it's coming. I just moved it, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
I I I love this right here. This my friend Jamie. He said, "I'm really excited to be tuning in, and that I had a break in my schedule and thought I'd take advantage of it." Talking about work, this guy works all the time, working, and we're talking about sometimes you got to just
Take
step back. I know you got to pay the bills, but man, that job. So many people have jobs that they hate, and they take them because yeah, you got to make ends meet. But if you can't be happy in your job, is it really worth it? And that's something that Edwina Wilson taught me. I have to this happiness that I have doing this right here. I could not be happier in my situation, in my current situation, with things that are happening in my life. Because I said, this is going to be an update on what's going on. If anybody sitting here knows me, this lady over here knows. I think she knows the breaking point, but I think she knows that nudging point to go just a little bit further. And then I'm like, okay, I've got all this. But I guess to we went back to a question earlier, when you decided to take a break from social media, when you decided to step back, when you decided it was, whatever was too much, was it something that just came up and said, okay, now it's time? What was a sign for you to step back? Was there a particular point where you said, look, this has got to happen?
It could be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And you will feel the overwhelmingness. You will feel it could be a sign of stress. And you're like, you know what? Now it's time to just sit back.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes it could be a disappointment and you need to just step back, and just reevaluate things, because sometimes reevaluating things is not bad, because it could put you back on a better level than where you was before. So sometimes it could be the stress level, it could be overwhelming, and you will feel it. Because you could get on there and you could have 3 very important things to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, at the end of the day, you look back and you're like, did I do any of those 3 things? And if you didn't do any of those 3 things that was very important, then you realize that that's when you wasted time, and that's when it could be another level of what you're dealing with.
One of the things that I love about this, and then having Miss Winnie on here, she sat with me for to talk, teaching me to manage my time and going through how much time I actually had, and having the planners. And I have 4 planners now. I just bought a 2023 because I'm scheduled out through April. I'm scheduled out through May because there are guests that are emailing me, and the show is becoming a constant. Now, when I say becoming a constant, my CP does not define me, has always been a constant ever since we kicked it off. It is, God has lifted it higher and higher and higher. But now the stories that are hitting, I got a message today on social media. It was a lady named Brittney, and she is 3 years sober today, 3 years clean and sober today, and she put that on social media, and I was so proud of the way she wrote it. And I messaged her. I said, do me a favor, privately message me. I would love for you to share your story. She didn't say anything. She loved the comment, and I just admire the way she put it out there, because she had two pictures. She had a picture on the left and she had a picture on the right, and it made me think of Miss Winnie, because when you're broken and you're tired and you're upset and you're dealing with everything and you're fighting it, you look one way. The joy is just sucked from your very being. And then when you get the picture on the right, when you come back, when you find something that puts the joy back in your life, whether it's skating or TikTok, or to be you, to truly find your happiness again, you see a radiance within a person. I notice a difference in Miss Winnie just because of some of the things we talked about. TikTok was for her. Putting pictures up on social media with smiles and things and accomplishments, celebrating the small things was important. And it made me realize, have I really been celebrating the small things? And the answer is no, I haven't. Um, I This is one of the reasons I wanted to do this update show, because I'm usually bubbly and the root beer's coming out of the top of and I get that. But when you get real like this and you look at what are you not doing that's taking some of the joy out of you, I have things to do now. I have a schedule, but I also am still DJ to go, you know what? Have I called Miss Winnie today? Have I called Mr. Wilson? Have I checked on this? I still have, am I staying in shape? Am I eating healthier? Yes, I'm doing all those things. And that's part of the journey. But what I love about this is there has to be something in your life that isn't just social media, that isn't just something you have to do. It's something you want to do. Whether it's listening to music, whether it's roller skating in a roller skating rink, whether it's wearing a hat, which I'm very surprised Miss Winnie ain't doing today. but Miss Winnie is a lady of many hats, and I say that because she is a mother, she is a producer, she has done plays, she has managed organizations. I meant being a mom is a full-time job. See, and I don't know that because I'm not a mom, but I hope to have kids at some point. And this kind of goes into a little bit more of the point of the show. Hey, Miss Deborah, welcome. When she's able to give her knowledge, those nuggets, those moments where I'm going, Miss Winnie, I'm gonna just break. I can't. And she'll go, what's going on? And we'll start talking. And I think a conversation is going to go 10, 15 minutes. And I look and it's 4:00. I'm like, what just happened? But it's always something to have that person to hear. Her knowledge is, it's kind of like you're in the shop that you always want to be in, and you keep going back to the same thing you like, but something says try something different. And you go over to it and I'm not going to like this, but I will try it. Mom always told me to try it. If you don't like it, you don't have to eat it. But the more time that I spend with Edwina Wilson, and I learn from her, broadening your horizons is important, but remember that they're your horizons. Don't just focus on one thing. Don't just think about, this is the one thing that you can do, because I learned the hard way that you can do many things, even though this here and that facial expression will go, lady, you lost your mind. You're crazy. I can't do all that. Because we put so much pressure on ourselves as individuals.
Because we're our worst enemies. We strike us so fast, it's not even funny. We don't even give ourselves a chance before we striking ourselves. That's putting ourselves down, criticizing ourselves. And that's one thing we really have to stop doing, and just sit back and just analyze and just find out what you can do to make things different than put yourself down. Come up with a solution to solve the problem.
That's it right there. And one of the things that I kind of feed off of with Miss Winnie is she'll say a lot of times, do it in fear anyway. So for the past year and a half, I've been working on an album. And we just finished the album, my part, basically Saturday. And I remember I was over Steve's, and we're going through what we call word production. We're going over every song, making sure all the lyrics are where they need to be, because we're sending them in for copyright. We're sending them in for, all this, and you got to make sure that everything. And I'm going, oh my head, I'm gonna blow. And then this song number 2 and song number 3. So we ate lunch, and I'm just like, do we stop? No, we can't stop now because we got to get it done. I mean, we got it done, and I look up and it's 4:00, and I'm like, what happened? Well, how the time just? And Steve is going, do you realize how much we got done today? We got all the words done, now I don't have, the songs have been tweaked and the album is ready to go. I mean, this thing is going to launch. And then once we started to launch, we researched how long the copyright was going to take. And it can be 1 to 3 months before we hear back. And I'm going, okay. And I started to go, oh man, it's 1 to 3 months. And I go, wait a minute. And Steve saw it. He goes, what are you thinking? I go, I got 1 to 3 months to market this thing. I got 1 to 3 months to launch this thing. I got 1 to 3 months to push this thing, to have a launch party, to go to a certain building and perform live, or so be it, so forth. And I'm going, oh, that's a Miss Winnie thought right there, because I started to go down that road of, oh my Lord, now I have 3 months, I gotta wait. And it's all in the perspective of what you do starts you off on the right or the wrong foot. And I tell you guys every time that Miss Winnie is up here, I still, to this day, I'm figuring it out, but this lady does not allow negativity in her life. I don't understand when so much, and I don't even want to say that, when so much has happened that could be perceived as negative, you still finding positive out of it. I'm going, how does she do it? How does she? That's the question. And I've asked that question multiple times. But
you know what? Let me interrupt real quick.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to say is never speak too fast. When things are happening or situations and stuff come at you, response time is always good a lot of times. And that means whether you're doing it too fast or doing it too slow, or it's the right time to react. Sometimes it's so much better to really think about things before you react on it or say something, because you cannot take that back. Once you say something, it's done. And you know what? 99.9% of the time, you meant it. You meant it. A lot of times if you do things in anger, you meant it. Like, it's really meant.
Even in the moment.
Yeah. And I'm a person that don't like to regret anything. So if I say something, I'm gonna really think about it first. I'm really think about it before I say something first, because I don't want to regret anything. And I don't want to have to take back nothing. And I don't want to have to apologize. So I want to make sure when I say it or do it, I do it right or say it right.
I like this right here. It's important to learn to be present in our present. That's true. And again, if I could bottle Miss Winnie somehow, and I want to take her into a negative room, because I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think of myself as a negative person. I really didn't. And it's not that I was a negative person per se. It doesn't take much to start your day off negatively. So in my presumption of my life, one of the updates that I've made is when I start my day, I say, thanks God for waking me up. Thanks God for waking me up. My feet hit the floor. I'm in my chair. Okay, we're good. You got to start somewhere. And if you don't appreciate life, you're not going to be blessed.
And every day you wake up, you have choices.
That's took the word. I literally was going to be the next line out of my mouth. Every day your feet hit the floor, you have a choice to make an impact. Now, the impact that you're going to make is up to you. And I say that because I was listening to music before Miss Winnie came on, and Destiny's Child Survivor came on, and I'm like, that's her right there. And I was gonna play that, but I thought, no, I want to say why. We as human people are survivors. Okay, from the moment we're born to we start living our lives, from young to old. Old is a state of mind. I see Miss Winnie at 90 doing as much as she is now, because I believe in what she is, but I also believe in what she does. And when a person represents themselves as, look, everything that I do affects me. If I'm a part of Kelly's Choice, if I'm a part of Kelly's Choice Cares, if I'm a part of the Disability Global Broadcast, when I come up here, if I'm going to be a representation of Edwina Wilson, I've got to look, act, and do my best, because if I don't put that forward, it doesn't work. See, that's what life is. I had to learn. I've been in radio since I was 12 years old. I knew about it, but this is different. When you're affecting people's lives and you start speaking on what you know, a lot of people can talk about it and not say nothing. A lot of people can talk about stuff and not say a daggone thing. But when you speak on what you know and you understand what you're trying to get to, one of the best things she ever gave me was, when you're speaking, bullet points, bam, 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 and you hit, and you look at a room. That's why I love audiences. You watch their eyes and their faces.
Right.
I remember 2 years ago when we did the Cerebral Palsy conference, and there was people just tears. I mean, I'm speaking, and I'm like, what did I do? And I see people getting up, leaving, and it did not hit me. Miss Winnie came over, whispered in my ear. She said, "Do you see the people that are leaving this room right now? Do you see what just happened?" And you don't think about it in the moment, because you're delivering. When I speak, everything that I have is right here, and it comes out. And I believe Miss Winnie's the same way. Everything she does, she's 100% or nothing. And I love the fact that she's able to guide and temper in the same way too, because I can go from 0 to 60, but I can still deliver from 0 to 40 and hold back just a little bit to the very end, and then punch it, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? This is what this is. It used to be about numbers for me. I can remember I was so concerned about numbers. How am I going to get the numbers? Miss Winnie and Mr. Wilson both. If you affect one, you're doing your job. And then I started living that message. You see, it's not about then. I don't look at the numbers on the screen, and I'm literally not looking at it, because I see the comments that come across and address them as they are, because the people that are supposed to be here at the moment are here. And that's who you have to address. Now, this is where it gets complicated. We push ourselves so hard, and we convince ourselves that we're not doing good enough before anybody else says anything. Or we care too much about what people say and forget that God put us on a path, and if we do what he wants us to do, then who cares what anybody else says? And I think that's that once we get that bitter taste, and I've done it, somebody will say something and I'll just fall off the edge for a little bit. I fell out this chair enough times that Miss Winnie had to strap me back in. Don't worry about what they say. Don't worry about what they do. Are you doing your job? I never thought about it this way, and I never said it this way, but I look at Miss Winnie in three ways. When she sets out to do a task, she says, I'm going to do something. Now, you got to understand, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. This lady's walk in faith and walk with God is unlike anything I've ever seen. I cannot even fathom to put words to paper how this lady can claim something and God walks with it and it's there. I'm like, okay. I just, but the
Yeah,
one thing that she
yeah,
always says, and I love this, when God says move, move.
yeah,
Yeah, I literally, you've helped mold my life in so many ways. It's really, yeah, it's an update show, but it feels good to be able to say I listen to her because, and I understand where she's coming from, because people can say, I came from nothing or I had nothing, but to experience it. See this, and this is where the show's going to change. At that 30-minute mark, I told you we're going to hit something. You know, I have cerebral palsy, and Kelly has cerebral palsy, and Miss Winnie is her mom. There's not a day goes by that Kelly is not on Miss Winnie's mind, okay, because that's her daughter. But the level of this, if you don't have cerebral palsy, you're not going to know, you're not going to understand it.
right.
And some people say, oh well, I can relate. No, you can't. Cerebral palsy is a ball in itself. Just like being the mother of a disabled child, unless you have a disabled child that needs 24-hour care, you can't fathom it. You can't.
Hmm.
The one thing that I can count on, if I say something, I'll say, Miss Winnie, I got these muscle spasms or this is happening. She may not be able to relate to that physical part of it,
Right.
but she's seen her daughter go through it.
Yeah.
And I must say this, be very careful what comes out of your mouth. Because I've heard people say, I had nothing. You got the clothes on your back and your car's working. You got something. You got food on the table. You got something. Some people have been in the situation where you ain't got a pot to go to the bathroom and to keep it clean, and you've been through it. See, she's been through it, and I think on a show like this, you got to be real. Don't say you understand when you don't have a clue.
Right. Right.
And it's okay not to have a clue. You don't have to understand. We're not. I've learned. If I have not learned, the probably the greatest piece of advice that Miss Winnie has never. I don't want to say never said, but just watching her succeed through the adversity that she went through, I couldn't begin to tell you. I mean, from the stories that she's told me, yeah, I could tell you a lot of stuff, but I can't live it. I can't truly understand it because I've never lived it. You
You
know.
know, what God has for you is for you, right?
Hmm.
I say that. I say that for me. What God has for me is for me, right?
Right. Hmm.
So, through all of the things that I have gone through and experienced, um, from betrayal to homelessness
Hmm.
to losing everything, um, a lot of hurt because when you have a big heart and all you know is to do and help, it can damage you. So now I'm at this point in my life where I've learned so much of Winnie, Edwina. I've learned so much of me, and I've even though I know God and I lean on God, but now I'm like, okay, God, I need to know, and I have to say it with who I am and the value of me and the worth of me, because you have to
Hmm.
learn to know your value and your worth.
Yep.
And I ask God now, are they worthy of me helping them? Are they worthy?
Mm.
Are they worth me even putting my time into them? One thing you can't get back is time. Oh God,
Ooh.
should I do this for this person? Should I help this person?
Wow.
See, because I'm at that place in my life now
Mm.
that I'm not moving forward no more without seeking God. I
Mm.
ask for discernment now. Because DJ, even for yourself, not everybody is worthy of even speaking to you. Okay. You can get
Mm.
as deep as that. And we have to learn to let go and understand who is and who is not, when
Whew.
to and when not to.
Wow.
And that's where I'm at. That's why I'm so confident in my life now. I will do a TikTok and don't care. It's all positive, it's all clean, but I thoroughly have fun and enjoy doing it. Right? It just shows another part of Edwina, but that's really me. That's the fun person that I am. That's really
Mhm.
me. I had a few school friends and people that I grew up with,
Mhm.
inbox me like, Edwina, that's you for real, like that's you. And I look forward to your TikToks. Like just seeing you sitting back and so conservative. It's like, okay, what happened to Edwina? She's not that really. You're
Mhm.
conservative, but you're fun and you like to laugh and be around people. And but when people can tear you down, then it's time to change just a little bit of you.
Mm.
Because God wants you to give and God wants you to help, but God don't want you to be torn apart for
Yes.
that. You know,
Are you at a point now where and this may seem like an odd question. Are you at a point now where you're finding more out about yourself that not necessarily that you didn't know, but God is showing you?
well, what I am learning is that, okay, yeah, I am too given. You got to
Mhm.
step back. You got to really step back and slow down.
Mhm.
And I did that. Literally, I did that. I stepped away for a while
Mhm.
and I was in and out, hit and miss. But
Mhm.
one thing that you did see on Kelly R. Smith page or my page was my memories. And I try to catch those before 12 o'clock midnight, because after 12 o'clock, those from that day, they gone again till another year. So I just learned to really step back, DJ, and focus on Edwina, learn more about Edwina, the value and worth of Edwina, and just more of God, more of
Mhm.
God. You can never have enough of God because I'm always need him. And every morning I wake up, I literally lay there in bed for a minute and meditate, but I always think about choices. And when you're going to make the right choice or wrong choice, the better choice or the bad choice, to
Mhm.
move
Mhm.
forward or not forward. So
Mhm.
making a choice every day, when you wake up every morning, you truly have the option of making the right choice or the wrong choice. I always thank God for giving me another chance, giving me another opportunity to do it right. If I
Mhm.
didn't the first time, then you have a chance and an option and a choice. Are you going to do it now? Or are you just going to leave it alone or do it better?
You know, again, nuggets of wisdom from Winnie Wilson right there. And I'm gonna say this because she kind of jabbed at it, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. You know, you can never have enough God. She said that, but I want you to think about one thing. I was talking to a friend the other day, and she said, I don't know why this happened. I don't know why I went through this, and why God allowed this to happen, and da 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 da. And I'm listening, I'm listening, I'm listening. I said, wait a minute, stop. And she looked at me and she said, oh. I said, you keep saying God allowed to happen. I said, you forget about Satan, don't you? I said, you think Satan ain't out there jabbing, trying to take what you got? I said, God gave us free will. That is the greatest gift that we have because we're not all the same. We're not robotic creatures that do the same thing. God allowed us to have free will. So when something happens to you, or somebody had lost their life, and she said, how could God allow this person to die at this time and this time. And I said to her, I said, here's what I'm gonna say to you. Don't don't put all the blame on God to where he's doing this because, or this is happening because. People forget about, when things are going good in their life, how often do they say thank you, God? To where when something goes bad, oh God, if you just get me out of this, people forget about the enemy. People forget about what he is capable of. Lucifer was God's top angel. I mean, let's call it as we are. I'm not trying to go to church or preach to nobody, but the Satan comes in other forms too. People forget about demons and principalities and all these things. And, you know, had it not been for this lady right here, I'm going to tell you something. You go through certain things in your life where you reach a level that's not you. And I'm going to share this. And it was because of God's voice and Miss Winnie being in my life that this didn't happen. But I was to a point where I lost myself in a situation. I got in a situation with family that I shouldn't have got into, and it got nasty. It got real nasty real fast. And once I get confronted, the martial arts went out the window, the training went out the window, and it was man to man, let's go. And I was like, all right, kick me in my teeth, and we're gonna find out. And I literally I stopped. And the story that kind of goes, there's a piece of this that I want to share. I was going through something. I had no idea at the time what it was. But Miss Winnie was right back here. And I heard either God put her voice in my head or God allowed her to get in there and said, don't not be you. Don't change yourself for this. I went through something so dark. I went to a place so dark, I almost forgot myself. And the amazing part about it, I remember talking to Miss Winnie about it, and she said, I wanted to call you, but I couldn't. I couldn't. I never heard her say that to me. I would, I knew you were going through something, but it was something, that was really, really rough, and I shared the story with her, and I told her, I said, Miss Winnie, it shook me to my very core. But at the very end, when I was about to lose every fiber of my being, and I was just about to go and just haul off and, let's just say, take care of business, something in the back of my mind, and it had to be God, because that was the only person that could reach me at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't been that DJ since I was 14 years old, which is angry hellion, to put it at the least amount of terms. I heard Miss Winnie say, don't change yourself for that. And I shared that message with her, and I was in tears, and I was almost, I couldn't get it out because it was so rough. That's the mental side that people don't see. When someone is going through something, whether it's working on an album, working on a YouTube, and I have all these things, and Miss Winnie has all these things that she's doing, we don't know what the enemy is doing. We don't know what attacks and what things the enemy is doing to make it harder. But I tell you one thing, that day, again, she's mentioned this too, God's timing is perfect. Because I don't know what I would have done had she not been there in that moment. Because when I called her, she knew to pick up the phone. She knew it was, I can't even begin to tell you how a peaceful night's sleep I had after dealing with a week of that. And it's amazing when somebody says something to you, how deep it can cut you,
Yeah.
how far it can reach. And the one thing that I'm going through in an update show, and this is part of it, words are powerful. Again, that's when he has said that 100,000 times, but you cannot change who you are.
You
You can't.
shouldn't.
I
You can
don't.
become better.
Yeah, I don't believe that you can. You can't. You have to be who you are because that's all that's there. Um, in the Green Mile, Michael Clark Duncan said you can't hide what's in your heart. You can try, but you can't because when you are you, they see that.
Yeah.
And the fact that in one of my darkest moments in my life that I heard Miss Winnie's voice and God allowed me to hear it, I was thankful for that because it's that moment that I went, that could have gotten real
Real
nasty
bad.
real fast. And I think all of the mental faculties aside, we all have our breaking point. We all have our listen. Social media's got to turn off. Instagram, YouTube. I've got to spend time with my husband, with my daughter, with my family, with my wife, whatever, whatever. It's got to be you've got to get to the point of where you realize enough is enough. There is a possibility to get too much on your plate. If you do not have a schedule, if you have not set up your timetable, if you've not gone through and managed your time, I suggest you do it because if you manage your time wisely, there's nothing that you can't do. Um, and I'm Winnie is valuable in a sense of there's so many avenues, and the best is yet to come. I believe with her, the best is yet to come as far as what she has, what she's going to have, and when you have people that are with you through thick and through thin and see the vision the whole way through, like the Wilson family and her daughters and her son and all her internet children that she has. Um, that doesn't mean that everybody sees what you see. Okay.
That's true.
But the one thing about Winnie Wilson is God gave her or keeps giving her a vision. Um, she's a brilliant writer. Um, I've read some of the stuff that she wrote in school and has gone through, in the classes that she's in. And I'm going, I've heard some of these stories and it's still,
My
when you
case
can,
study. I
yeah,
went deep on my case study.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, we've got a little bit of time left, but I want to cover this too before I forget and to give her a chance to kind of reflect on it. One of the most amazing things about what we share is Miss Winnie's ability to tell a story, whether it's a reflection on her life, whether it's something that happened with me, whether she's trying to remember where she's at and I can recall a point and it goes from there. Her ability to keep a person on the edge of their seat where they're like this and they're just waiting for the rest of the story to come out. That is some of the most calming moments I can have. This most stressful day, and I don't even think sometimes she realizes she does it. This happened to me, boom, 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 and she tells me, and I'm like, you get that moment of clarity, and I think that's what her level of storytelling provides for people. When I asked her to come on the show today, I did not know. I couldn't put an exact word on why until right now. Yeah, it was an update show on myself and all of that, and the album and the YouTubes, and everything is going really well. I'm very, very excited that I'm about to hit show 90. I mean, 90.
So let me ask this. What made you feel like you wanted to do an update on DJ?
Well, I kind of, I guess it was for myself to know that things were progressing, because when you're trying to do things and you don't feel like they're moving as fast as they should, you have to remind yourself that sometimes slow and steady wins the race. It's just like you said. Sometimes you've got to take that step back and stop going 0 to 60 and go 0 to 20 and just let that 20 soak in, and then go up to 25 and then go up to 30. I think I want people to realize that what's about to happen in my life, this album, when this album drops, this is a big, big thing for me. I cannot wait. I am so excited about this album. I literally am about to like jump out of my chair. The fact that all of these songs are original, the fact
Mhm.
that all of them have been written by myself, and the music has all been done by Steve. And I'll tell you what, you talking about a person that's a talented individual. Steve, he is musically talented, guitar, piano, electric guitar, bass, keyboard. I mean, we have, when you have chemistry with a person, and we've studied in martial arts together. Our journey through music, when we started it, it was so amazing because we went, we can do this, and everything was, we'll split everything right down the middle, and I love the way that it's come out because it's going to happen. And I've wanted to put out an album since I was 8 years old. I've been doing music since I was like 6, but I've wanted to put out an album since I was 8. And when we took the cover shot for the back cover and the front cover, I got emotional because I'm going, that's it. It's here. And I'm thinking, okay, now I've got to launch it. Now I've got to promote it. It's going to be on iTunes. It's going to be on Pandora. It's going to be on iHeartRadio. It's going to be on CD Baby. There's, I'm going, wait a minute, this is happening. It is like, and God is known. You talking about God knowing my heart. God has known where my passion comes from in music, and the whole time we're doing this, Steve is like, "Man, your lyrics, dude. I don't know how your lyrics are incredible." And we wrote. We weren't gonna do. We added a song to the album at the last minute, and I'm going, this is it. It's rounded. It's perfect. Don't do anything else. It's just, we went through and tweaked it, and I'm like, this is it. It's happening. It's now. Like, I can see it. And when you see the vision of what you've waited for so long, when this thing launches, I'm going to be able to say this is my work. And I looked at Steve. I said, no, it's not just mine, it's ours. And he looked at me like, why are you giving me the credit? Because you came up with the lyric. I said, Steve, do you understand how good this is with the two of us? And I look at it and I go, America's Got Talent in 2023, and I'm going, what is this about? And you start seeing pieces. And you said something to me 2 years ago. Don't limit yourself to one thing, because you're capable of so much. I remember this. And even at this moment, it's coming back. You're capable of so much. You don't know how much you're capable of. And I'm going, this lady's lost her mind. And I'm looking at this album going, this thing is launching and this thing is going to go everywhere. I mean, I've got 3 packages that are coming. We're going to do the CD for 10. We're going to do an autographed CD for 15. And then we're going to do an autographed CD and picture, black and white, of the title of the cover of the album for 20. So I literally will, all the CDs will come wrapped in cellophane. I will unwrap it, sign it,
Okay.
and ship it. And, shipping will be plus shipping and handling. It's going to be like, I think like $5.95 for the flat rate box anywhere in the US. But all the research and all the time that's gone into this, I'm sitting here yesterday going, oh my God, it's here. Like I'm literally, I haven't had that moment yet because it's been closer and closer and closer and closer. And I'm like, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost. Oh, wow. There's no more songs to do. There's no more. What? How? And I'm like, what do I do? It's here. Oh, man, I got to. And I was talking to Steve, I'm like, what about a launch party? What about, I was like, I know where I can go. I said, what about, making it known, because I want this. I'm so excited for it. Um, but it's weird because I remember you saying, don't limit yourself to one thing. And this was so far back in my mind, Miss Winnie, this album, it was always there. Like, why aren't you doing what you love? Why aren't, because I love My CP Does Not Define Me. I do. I love martial arts, but my music, that's that's a whole nother
It
type of
makes you happy. And I was getting ready to ask you, I was writing down as on you talking, what makes DJ happy?
music.
And I see not only does it make you happy, but you can see your passion is in that. So because you're passionate about that, you're going to continue to make it great and greater. And you're not going to lose that, because your excitement level in talking about this definitely tells that music part of you, it can only grow. It can only grow from here, onward and upward. And yes, the launching part and the marketing part is definitely moments that when my daughter called, what's the day? Wednesday. Monday, I talked to my daughter, and she said, I went on social media looking for a picture to post for the oldest daughter challenge, right? I said, well, after about a few days, I said, let me go on to post my daughter picture, my oldest daughter picture. She wasn't nowhere to be found on social media, right? So I said, oh, she must have deleted. Well, not deleted, but temporarily took it down. So I ended up talking to her on Monday, and we had a great conversation. And I knew she was in a certain place, and I instead of texting her or calling her, I just did a voice message. And Corey said, "You're the first one to always say pick up the phone, or why you texting?" I said, "I know, but certain times you got to know when to do either one of those." And at that moment, she just needed to hear from me in the way that I delivered it to her, to open her up, wake her up, and whatever she was going through at that moment, it helped her get out of it. So probably about 15 minutes later, my daughter called me, and she said, I needed to hear that. And I said, I know. I just had to, I had to do it when I felt it, because it was like I couldn't let too many days go by knowing that she was experiencing something because of her silence. Her silence. And I know my children. I know them. And I know when and when not to say something, and how to approach in certain ways. I know those things.
But you've always known that with people, though, too.
And people too, right? And she said, Ma, I had to, first of all, thank you for this call. First of all, thank you for the message. And she said, I had to get off of social media. I realized with work and not doing what I really want to do was weighing on me. And I could be on social media, and before I realized, I done scrolled and scrolled and scrolled and scrolled and didn't get the important things done that I want to do. So I had to break away from social media. She said it was the best thing I could have done, because it gave me a little bit of time to focus, to think about the next step, how to come back and do the things that I want to do in a different way. Just hold a whole nother perspective on things. And Corey, I was gonna say my husband, but Corey looked at me, because you know who my husband is. Corey looked at me, and he always said, you always have a way of getting across to people. And listen to God. He said, your timing is impeccable, and and I was like, Yeah, and that was just like, with that situation with you, it was like, what is going on with DJ? Like, why is it that I cannot even pick up the phone to call DJ? Like, I couldn't even pick up the phone to call you that time.
I think you told me you tried,
I did.
but
Yeah,
you
and I couldn't
couldn't.
do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It was like timing is everything. And I truly lean on God for so much. My life wouldn't be the way it is or where it is if it wasn't for God. So I lean on God and I trust God in everything, and I trust the process of how
Mhm.
I move on things and what God is doing. So I ask for guidance and direction, and God gives me that, you know. So
But and I know we're going a little bit over, but in your in all truthfulness, I think you being able to communicate with God and have that conversation with God and say, God, this is what I need, this is what I want. A lot of people aren't even there because I think they don't realize that God wants you to come as you are.
are in the position, in the situation, in the state of mind
You,
where you are.
you don't have to hide from him
Right.
because he already knows. He wants to see and feel where you're coming from as an individual. So I'm going to say this because it's I keep going back to you are capable of so much. You don't even realize how much you're capable of.
You. Mm-hmm.
You know, you can get mad. That's okay. You can get angry. You can say you're crazy. You can say this woman done lost her mind. You can give that look. But if it hadn't been for that, I don't know what path God would have gotten me on to get me where I'm at right now. The fact that I'm looking and saying this is happening, I people a lot of times are passionate about something, but they don't go for it because they allow things to get in their way. I will tell you from experience and from this lady over here, I I don't care what hand you have. I don't care if you got one, two, an ace, a jack. I don't care if you got five fives. I don't care if you got a royal flush. I don't care if you got one card in your hand. Play it. The only chances you're going to miss are the ones you don't take.
The ones you don't take. That's it.
I I have learned more from this lady sitting over here in the fact of DJ, you cannot not do something because somebody tells you you shouldn't, or you know there are other ways to skin a cat. And I'm not that I hurt animals, I ain't saying that. I'm just it is amazing to me that I'm living in this moment right now because that phrase, you, you have to understand Winnie and myself. Again, there there's guidance, and then there's motherly guidance. There's Miss Winnie, and then there's Edwina Wilson. It's all wrapped into one. See, the package that you get over here, you don't, is so valuable because it's that knowledge that you get, but it's also you get more. When you find out yourself, when you see what Miss Winnie talks about, and it comes into fruition for you, and you're going, "Dang, she was right the whole daggone time." And I had back in that time 5 years ago now, I had no idea, no idea, none, because the mindset was closed minded. I was narrow minded, narrow visioned until I allowed myself to open up, and now we're here. So I want to do this real quick. Um, I always do this at the end of every show, and I've never gotten a chance to do this with you, so I'm really happy. I have 32 questions here at random. I'm not going to do all of them, nothing like that. I call this segment 10 questions, okay? And it's just, so I just want to see kind of where, Miss Winnie, what is your favorite sound?
Sound?
Your favorite sound?
Wow. I never thought about that. Pass.
Okay. Miss Winnie, what is your favorite word?
God.
Okay. Hmm. Tell me something that makes you smile.
Oh man. Just knowing that how blessed I am. Just knowing how blessed I am from everything I've overcome.
What was your favorite subject in high school?
Sports,
Okay.
basketball, bowling, track. Yeah. Is that a subject? Because I hope that considered, because it wasn't none of the other ones that I needed to learn.
Hmm. What
But I did.
sound what sound do you dislike or hate?
You know what? When I'm in a car and the AC, when it's like the fan turned up real high,
Oh, I hate it.
oh, I can't. Oh, that sound. That sound. Yeah.
If you could have any superpower in the entire world, what would you choose? I love it. I love it.
Man, ooh, okay. I'm gonna work on that one. I
Okay.
can say so many things, but yeah, let me narrow it down. But go ahead.
Mm. If it was your last day on Earth and you were going to have a last meal, what would it be?
Lasagna.
Mm.
I love lasagna. Okay.
Okay, I got four more. If you could talk to any person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
My sister. My sister. She was my older sister, 1 year older than me. We were sisters and best friends. And she was my confidant. She was my
Mm-hmm.
confidant. So the reason why is because of all of that. I had that one person in my life, and I always say everybody need that one person that they could go to with the most intimate, personal things that they're
Yeah.
experiencing and going through
Yeah.
in life, and don't be judged. And my sister was that. She had a big heart. We lived different lives, but she had a big heart. She was respectful. She was just the nicest person I ever could have had in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And to have lost my sister, it was truly devastating on so many levels, not just because of her being my biological sister, but
Mm-hmm.
just her love, her heart, her caring, just her whole being. And I miss that. I still miss that. I still miss
Mm-hmm.
that, you know. And so yes, that person would be definitely be my sister.
Okay. Miss
I
Winnie,
almost
tell
had a
me,
tear for a minute, but oh, not today.
tell me one thing that you love about yourself.
I love that I'm able to get control of me.
Mm-hmm.
I love that I'm able to step back and analyze and think about things. I love that I've grown and to be the person I am today versus who I was even 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. I feel like every year I have grown. Every year I have learned something different about myself. And every year I learn to get even closer with God. Because without God, I wouldn't even been able to do that or to even know. And listen, you need to learn more about you, you know.
Mm.
So God is that one that I'll never say, okay, God, this is the last time I'm coming. You know, I ain't gonna ask you no more. Yes, I am.
We had that
For that.
conversation the other day. I ain't never gonna say this the last time I'm coming because I know I'm gonna need you tomorrow.
I'm gonna need you again, okay? Maybe even 5 minutes or a second, you know. But
Oh wow.
yeah, I just like I love the part that I have grown, and I know that
Mm-hmm.
on so many levels. You know,
Okay.
growth is everything, and everybody should want to see growth in themselves for the better,
Sure.
for the
Sure.
better.
And,
you
and
know.
we got two more, and then I'm gonna come back to the superpower question. What do you think your greatest achievement is thus far?
My greatest achievement. My greatest achievement is in 2021. Um, I went to I started Bible college in August. And that was actually 16 years, 20 years from when I kept saying, when I first spoke the words, I wanted to go to Bible college.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because of things I went through in life. And I wanted a closer connection with God. I wanted to learn more of the word. I wanted to be able to add some of the Bible stories with my past and
Mm-hmm.
struggles that I've gone through. So when the opportunity showed up and presented itself in, it had to be God. I literally can't see it any other way.
I remember this
But
story.
God presented himself, and that it was it was crazy. But God does some of the craziest things, believe it or not.
Because Kelly had just had her surgery, right? When you with the timing
It
of it.
was, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But how I found out about this college was the craziest thing ever. And it was a person inboxed me on Instagram on Kelly's Choice.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I had questions like, is this real? Are you a real human person? Like,
Mm-hmm.
are you a
Mm-hmm.
real
Mm-hmm.
human person? Because people hack
Too
your
good to
account.
be true. Too good to be true, kind of thing.
But
Mm-hmm.
no,
Mm-hmm.
not even just too good to be true. That came after the fact that I realized you are human and you're not someone that hacked my account. So when I realized that, I was like, oh, this is real. So from there, I joined a program that they had. And from that point, during that program that I was in, I learned about the Bible college. And I said, that was God. It was a process and
Mm-hmm.
it was steps. And I thank God that I saw it the time that I did. I joined the program that they had because it was about leadership. And I want to be a great leader. So there's still a lot of things that I don't know and didn't at the time about being that phenomenal leader.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, although I know within myself that I was doing everything right, but I still wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
So thank God I did, but it was a process, DJ. It was a process. God set that thing up so perfect. So during one of the courses, someone spoke about the Bible college. And I was like, did I just hear Bible college?
Mm-hmm.
So I messaged the person and asked for more information about it, and they gave me the information and the head person, the president of the college, and I literally got to speak to the president of the college and learn so much more. And here I am. So that's my biggest college, my biggest accomplishment
Thus
is to
far.
start Bible college in August.
just
And
just to, just to go off that, Miss Winnie, remember this too: God knows the ultimate desires of your heart, and
yeah,
He never forgets that.
yeah.
See, now we got one more, and then we got to go back to the superpower question and your favorite word. But this one I saved for last because I want to know myself because I don't know the answer to this question.
Yeah.
And out of these 32 questions, this one probably is my favorite. What is your favorite emotion and why?
Oh, uh, what is my favorite emotion and why?
And why?
Favorite emotion.
Y'all see the facial. I love it. You can tell she thinking hard.
Where in the world you get that question? I'm gonna have to ask you that question too.
I, I, I honestly, I wanted to. You told me one of the, well, you had suggested that I want to spice it up a little bit in 2022. So I said, all right. I sat down, well, as I always do, and I was working on questions that I wanted to ask people, and Christina was typing them up for me. And as I was coming up with them, I just came up with them off the top of my head, straight off the top of my head. And Christina goes, "Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good. Oh,
these are absolutely wonderful."
So, but where I came up with the idea is there's a show called Inside the Actor Studio, and the host of that show, at the end of who he interviewed Robin Williams, and he did the series where he just took time with the audience and he asked him I think 20 questions, and some of the questions that he asked him were on there. So I kind of tweaked it a little bit and also used some of them to ask. But the reason I asked the emotion question is because I see you full of life and so many emotions all the time. Yeah. And I say you go from 0 to 60, and it's not necessarily a negative terminology, but you are so, and please don't take this the wrong way, emotional in a good way that you can almost get a grip on your emotion. A lot of people can't do that because they get one way or they derail, and it's how do I get back? So when I ask you what's your favorite emotion and why, I kind of thought it would be obvious, but I went, let me see how she reacts, because you always try to be happy, but in a real sort of way. And happiness is not always, up here with the squirrel dancing in the tree. It's, being happy or being true to yourself is your true happiness. So that's what I would have thought. But for me, my favorite emotion is confusion, because when you're confused, you're not defeated. You're just kind of in limbo.
Unbalanced in limbo, yeah.
You're kind of walking around or falling, lack thereof, for the CP people in the broadcast. You're so good at getting people rebalanced when they get shaken. That moment of whoa, you threw me off for a minute. So I mean, I just confusion, and I had to ask myself each question before I did it, and my head hurt at the end. There's 32 of them, so I had to.
And you actually understand where I'm at right now, like
yeah, I went through it with a couple. I said, my favorite sound though is a baby laughing. The baby laughing, just oh my God! It is when there's a video on YouTube of a dog of an owner feeding his dog popcorn, and every time he feeds that dog popcorn, that baby loses her mind. And when she loses her mind, you hear her laugh, and you can't do nothing but laugh with her. And it's one of them ones that you just keep laughing, because it's so funny. But yeah, that's my favorite sound. But I'm gonna go back. You figure out have you thought about your favorite word?
I did. I said God.
God, that's right.
Did you want one word or
God?
Okay.
What's your favorite sound?
Stay there. Stay in my mouth.
Favorite sound. Favorite sound. That one you said, I'm gonna have to come back to that one because.
Yeah. Go let me superpower. Go to the superpower.
Yeah. So did you figure out what your favorite superpower will be?
It's joy, and my superpower is joy. And let me give you a prime example.
Oh wait a minute, I gotta hear this.
So, I hired a personal trainer because I can't hold myself accountable when it comes to going to the gym. So I needed accountability.
I ain't laughing. Yo.
I will walk away when it comes to that part. I hadn't gotten there yet. So, but I knew I wanted it. So I said, well, let me take a different route. And
Mm-hmm.
because I want it and I know I can't hold myself accountable, let me
Mm-hmm.
hire somebody to help me with that part of getting started in the journey of
Mm-hmm.
going to the gym. I need to be better to be able to really help Kelly more,
Mm-hmm.
stronger, and mentally keep that stability strong, and just my energy level, work on just so many things. So I wanted that in my life and to
Mm-hmm.
lose some weight. And so I hired a personal trainer, and I'm so
Mm-hmm.
glad I did.
Mm-hmm.
So my son lives like 3 minutes, really, 5 minutes at the most from where I go to the gym at in Newport News. And one day, some mornings I'll stop past there to see my grandkids. I stopped past there one morning, and they was dressed getting ready to go somewhere. And my grandson, I brought him one, the little kitty basketball hoops, like the little tight
Mm-hmm.
ones. I had brought him one of those probably about a year ago. He loved playing basketball because he would go watch his dad play basketball all the time. And when I say joy, let me see if you can see this. Hold on.
Oh my God. That is so cute. He is just living. Oh my God. That's your grandson. Oh my word. He is just loving it. Mm.
Joy.
So to
I
give people joy would be your
give joy. Always put out joy. Even in the most downest moments, find joy. And I'm able to bring that out at some point. Joy. Because truly, it really is me. It really
I think you figured out your favorite emotion too.
joy. When I was thinking about that, I said, it's joy. And that's joy.
But I
So
can
it's
honestly say I have never heard. Now I want y'all to think about this. When I think of a superpower, I think of being able to heal people so that they're, not sick. I think of being able to fly, being able to have super strength. Did y'all hear what she said? Did, do you know how awesome that is? See, that's where you kind of got to step back because I weren't expecting that. I weren't expecting that. And again, when I asked that question, I said, Miss Winnie got away sometimes of making me go, "Oh, I weren't ready for that. Because I never thought of, she said joy. I'm like, excuse my brother, how the heck joy is superpower? Right? And then she explained it, but she added two words that, woo, this could be a whole nother hour show. One thing that Miss Winnie does is give, and she shows joy. So she took those two words to give three words, people, joy. I have never in my, I don't think I've heard that in 40 years. I, mm-mm. That's that's powerful right there, because that's what I mean when I say you can't hide who you are. And she had to chew on that one for a little bit. That's powerful. That's powerful. Well, I'm gonna say this. I always have a great time bringing Miss Winnie up here, and always, almost every time, something happens that I don't expect. And in choosing to do these questions, I literally find out so much more depth in Miss Winnie's soul. You cannot begin to imagine how happy it makes me to to um, to be able to do this, and then have an episode like this where sometimes you gotta talk about what's on your mind, you know. And I'll be honest, after doing 89 shows, I'm going, I don't want to get burned out. That was my biggest fear, man. I'm about to hit 90. Okay, not in age, a long way for that. I'm just saying, we're about to hit 100 shows here. And Miss Winnie said something to me a while back when I first started, because I had 48 of the Sports Menu Radio Show. And she said, what are you going to do when you hit 100 shows? And you know, I never, it never occurred to me to realize that I'm 10 away from 100. But that 100th show is going to be special, not just because it's a 100th show. It's a big accomplishment to allow it to be within yourself, to draw out. That's what Miss Winnie is about, drawing out things that you don't expect, you're not ready for. Joy as a superpower. That one right there. That one I'm gonna have to go think about, because that one literally knocked me off balance. Not in a bad way, because it just, that was, again, me to be lost for words don't happen, and it is, but you can tell it's truthful, because look at where she brought it to. She couldn't answer the favorite emotion, but she did, based on what she wanted to give to someone else, because when she experiences or sees joy on any level, it makes her joyous. I mean, that's I
Listen, so my grandson, he's 1 years old,
mm-hmm.
and you saw my little granddaughter, she ran through there too. She should be 3 this year. And uh he's so, when I come around, he'll back up a lot, right? And I just mess with him until he just break out of it, right? So that particular day, he was in his room. He didn't know I was there. He came around the corner. He saw me. He walked back around, right? I said, I got something for him. I said, I got something for him. He ain't gonna do this no more. Because one thing he gonna learn about this mama, he gonna love this mama, just like all the rest of the grandkids. My grandkids love mama. That's what they call me, and my children. And
You ain't used to the loud, to the
yeah, and that's all of me, and it's so funny. So they know all of me,
oh,
when I'm this low, when I'm here, and they like, yes, but they respect me so much, and they know their mother. They know their mother. One thing all of my kids will say about me is she is so giving, and she give to everybody, and I give some of them to everybody. So when my daughter was moving just last month, was it last month she moved? January. When she was moving, you remember I told you when she was moving, get rid of this couch, get rid of this, get rid of that. And I was like, wait a minute, let me call this person. Wait a minute, let me call this person. Wait a minute, let me see. Remember I told you that? I was just giving stuff away. And my daughter stopped for a minute. She said, you know what, Mom? That's why you're so blessed. Because you give stuff to everybody. You always giving, 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 giving. That's why God continue to bless you. And that's just why you keep receiving so much love from the Lord that allows you to keep moving forward. When you feel like you're falling, you ain't falling, because you know when to pick back up and keep going. And I was like, yeah, they pay attention to me. I said, yeah, they pay attention to me.
I weren't gonna say this, but I got to, because God has brought it to my attention 4 times now, and I ain't gonna miss it on the 4th. I missed it on 1, 2, and 3. She just said it. Now I want you to think about something. Her own daughter said, "Mom, that's why you're so blessed, because you give to everybody, and God keeps blessing you." But I want to say this before I get off the air. I know we went a little over, but it's okay.
I didn't
when
realize
you
what time it was.
yeah, I'm having fun. But no, when you fall the furthest, look at where God's going to lift you to. To end this on such a talking about joy. I Some of the stories that she shared, I'm going, Miss Winnie, how in the world did you find joy in that?
Right.
And and when she told me, I'm going, what did she just say? Like, because it's just like catching you off guard with the catching me off guard with the answer. Now, Miss Winnie can catch me off guard, and she is so good at catching me off guard to make me think. And I went, Miss Winnie, how in the world did you find joy in that? And she told me, and then you go through. But to end it, I'm going to end it with this. When you hit rock bottom, when you're at your lowest point, you can't go any lower. When you're at rock bottom, that is rock bottom. But I've said several times, one of Miss Winnie's greatest gifts, and she has so many, is the ability to lift people up. Because based on how far she fell or had to fall, God never let her stay down where she was at and lifted her up to a point now. Give me crying on this show, not today. And it's so amazing to me to hear, even in that little bit of that moment where you have to stop and say, Mom, that's why you're so blessed right there. Because she puts others before herself, and God sees the true desires of your heart. We said that earlier, when it comes to my music and when it comes to, the vision of what's getting ready to happen with Miss Winnie and everything that's going on with that. There are blessings coming to her that she can't even fathom. And I'll tell you just this to end the show on this, because it's powerful. Speak those things that are not as though they are. There was an instance where I believe it was a building or a warehouse, and Miss Winnie and I were talking, and she said, this could be it. And I told her 45 days. My heart said 30. and I was going to say 30. And now, but the cool thing about this, now she said something earlier in the show that I want you guys to think about. God did it in 30 and made it available to her in 30 with everything that she needed resource-wise. But before her and the family acted upon what they were going to do, she seeked discernment in, is this the right time? I will tell you, there's not much that I don't listen to when Miss Winnie speaks, because of the ability for her to discern a situation. So if I ask her a question, even if I'm going to be caught off guard by the answer, don't be afraid of that. Don't let fear control your life because somebody says something you're not expecting. You're going to hear no. You're going to hear plenty of no's, but I'm telling you, July 1st, you're going to hear a yes. One that you weren't expecting. One that you're not ready for. It's going to happen. Y'all get ready. That's all I'm going to say on that one. I do want to say this. If you guys want to be a guest on My CP Does Not Define Me, you can email me at carterdj85@gmail.com. Please put in the subject line, guest for My CP Does Not Define Me. Just because you email me does not mean you're going to be on the show. I'm just letting you know now. I have to filter through and have an interview with that. You guys can catch me on YouTube. My CP Does Not Define Me, Chairmaster Games, Worth the Wait, Cooking with DJ Carter, and also My Chair, the singing YouTube is coming up. It's going to launch in about 3 weeks. I'm in the process of corresponding that with the album. That's also new and launching now. TikTok, My CP Does Not Define Me, will be launching in 3 days. So that's going to be good to go. Twitter, My CP Does Not Define Me. My blog, CarterDJ85 at Wixsite.com. New domain name, My CP Does Not Define Me. So all of that has been done. And all, as I say, if you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. This is D to the J with the roll away, saying we'll see you next Wednesday at 2 o'clock for My CP Does Not Define Me.
All right, everybody. That's going to do it for this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me. As always, you can catch us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the Disability Global Broadcast and Facebook Live. If you haven't already checked out our YouTube channel, My CP Does Not Define Me, we post all of the show videos in our My CP playlist. I'm your host, D to the J with the roll away. And if you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. We'll see you next week.